Hello and welcome to Mad Knitting. This is, I believe, episode 89. It is Monday, September 8th in the year of our Lord 2025. I am Susan. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and you can find me online as madtownmama on Ravelry and Bluesky and madtown_mama on Instagram. So that underscore in my Instagram handle is because somebody else claimed madtownmama previous to me, whoever that is, I don't know. I'm coming to you from my home in Madison, Wisconsin. This is a different place in my house than I usually film, but yeah, I'm giving it a try. It is late in the afternoon. I got home from work a few minutes ago and I am trying to find a new routine to my recording schedule. This is probably not interesting to most of you, but I changed jobs this summer. I went from working from home for a small nonprofit where I had a lot of flexibility in my day today because I was working from home. So if I wanted to take a long lunch break and film an episode on a day that wasn't too busy, I could do that. Now I work 100% on site, at least for now. I might be able to incorporate some remote days into my schedule once I've established myself. But for now, I'm 100% on site, so I don't have very much time at home, at least during the week. And today, my daughter has something after school, so I have a little bit of alone time in the house, and I was walking around trying to find a place where there's some decent light coming in. And this is the place I found. This is actually my son's room, but he's off at college, so he's not here to object. I am drinking cold water with fresh herbs in it. I grow mint and holy basil, and holy cow, my holy basil is like everywhere this year. It really has taken over, so I should pick it and dry it and save it for the winter. But yeah, I'm one of those insufferable liberal ladies who likes to drink herby water and eat kale. So I'll be doing some kale for dinner, among other things. I'm feeling a little discombobulated. The new schedule will settle in, but I've only been at this job for about 2 months. School just started for my daughter. We just moved my son back to college a little over a week ago. There's been some family stuff going on, and like the national news just has me very stressed right now. So between all the changes and the upheaval, you know, I'm trying to, it just takes more effort to like find that joy and humor and all those things that really builds our resilience and builds community. We can't just be sad and depressed all the time, but it's just that much more work to manage it, I think. I don't want to enumerate all the terrible things going on right now because I don't think I need to. It's like this onslaught. It's really hard to keep up. Today feels, last week, I mean, every week is bad, but like the administration at least was like losing a lot in court, and clearly what they're doing is very, very unpopular. This week, this morning, they had like a big win from the Supreme Court, who basically said, sure, go ahead and do your ICE raids in Los Angeles. Fuck the Fourth Amendment is essentially what they said. So it's like not a great day. But knitting is a constant. And you know what? Somebody I know online pointed out that some of the most ingenious and creative and beautiful designs came out of the Great Depression and World War II. So that's a reason as ever to keep on knitting. Okay, I am sorry for that long and rambly introduction. I am not wearing anything knitted today because it's actually a gorgeous day outside in Wisconsin. It's like in the low 70s and sunny and a little bit breezy. Too warm for anything woolen or knitted. But I do have a few things to show you. I wish that I had finished more things, but I just haven't. That's how it is, but I'm going to show you what I've been doing. I do have one finished pair of socks. I actually knit these quite a bit at work. I still do have some online meetings, and there is one staff meeting where I feel okay bringing my knitting in. So I've gotten these done mostly in that setting. These are a riot of color. I don't know if I said this last time, but these feel to me like somebody just smushed a bag of jelly beans all over yarn, and then I made it into socks. There are so many colors. They are so close together. It's kind of striped, but the colors change so frequently that to me it just looks like this wild party, a wild candy party. The yarn is Footprints Wool Addicts by Lang Yarns. I bought this in Racine, Wisconsin at, I can't remember the name of the yarn shop. It was really, really nice though. The owners were lovely, and the yarn selection was really nice. But this is a blend of wool and cotton with a little bit of nylon. So I got a couple skeins of it there to add to a couple other skeins I've had in my stash, one of which I've knit. So this is the third pair of socks I have made out of this yarn. But I haven't worn them yet because it's been too warm for wool socks, even wool cotton socks. So I am going to put these in my sock drawer, and I am looking forward to seeing how they hold up with this different blend. This pair I decided to do all stockinette. The other pairs I've made, I did like a garter rib so that there would be a little more stretch. For this pair, I decided to do all stockinette just to see how well that wears. These are 64 stitches. I used a size 1 needle. I did a heel flap and gusset with the Eye of Partridge heel. That's how I do a lot of my socks. So that is a finished object, my only finished object for you today, I'm afraid. I have just 3 works in progress to show you. No, there's a 4th. I'll have to go get it, but I'll show you these others first. I'll start off with a couple other pairs of socks that I have started. I won't spend a lot of time on these because it's kind of the same thing over and over with me in socks. I keep meaning to do something with more interest in patterning, but then I don't. So here's a pair I started a few weeks ago, and I've kind of sat down and not made much progress because honestly I put them deep in a bag and sort of forgot that I had them. But these are very fun. I've been trying out new sock yarns that I had not tried before. I'd like heard of them but not tried them. So this lovely orange yarn, it's like every shade of orange you can think of, and it came like this, wound up like this. I'll just keep holding it up. It is Zauberball Sterke 6 by Schoppel, and it's, I think, sport weight, 150 grams of sport weight yarn, wool and nylon, and I think this is maybe like a biodegradable nylon. So yeah, it says other synthetic fibers persist in the environment for decades before they degrade completely, but this has a natural composting process, so this will biodegrade in about 5 years. So supposedly the yarn won't just biodegrade on your feet, but once it's like in an official waste system, it will. I'll be honest, that's not why I picked it out. I picked it out because I liked the colors and I wanted to try the yarn, and it's a little bit heavier weight. So I have size 1.5 needles that I'm using, or maybe they're size 2. 2.5 millimeters. I think that's just size 1.5. And I cast on fewer than 64 stitches. I don't even remember for sure now. I could sit here and count them for you, but I won't. It's either 52 or 56 stitches. But I have tried this on my foot and I know it will fit. And it's just kind of a slow color changing yarn. So I expect that the second sock will not look the same as the first unless by chance I get started in the same point in the color repeat. And because this is a 150 gram skein, I anticipate that there will be a lot left over. Perhaps enough for a second pair, or for a hat, or for some other project yet to be determined. So that's the second sock. I'll probably finish the first one before I take these into work, because I like to have that first sock complete and know just how many rounds to do of everything, so that I'm not like trying it on at work or in a situation like, I think I might have started that when I was at a play or something. Anyway, some context where it's not appropriate to take off your shoes and try on a sock in progress. Okay, third sock in progress. I have started these since my last episode, and they will be done soon. These are socks that I've taken to work and worked on there. I got a bunch of this yarn from Webs 2-3 years ago. It's from Lana Grossa, and it's called About Berlin Yak Colorblock. They had this on sale. I bought a bunch of colors because I liked it. And I've made a couple of pairs, I think, and I gave away one skein to someone. So I had just this one left, and the skein that I made into socks for me that I have worn have done this funny thing where it's kind of, it's not quite pilling, but I think the yak fibers, which are darker naturally, they're just naturally a darker color, so you get this kind of heathery effect in the yarn. Those were sort of working loose. So this other pair of socks I have these like little black fuzz all over. They're just socks, so aesthetically that doesn't bother me. I tried to depill them, but they don't come off. So it's not exactly like they're just totally coming loose, but they are separating from the rest of the yarn somehow. So I decided I would knit this last pair, knit this last skein into another pair of socks for myself, wear them, and see if hand washing makes a difference. Because I am wondering if the agitation in the machine is what is making those fibers work loose. So anyway, here is the first sock. I have all these markers to help me remember how many rounds to do. As you can see, these are nice wide stripes, hence the color block in the name. Because it is striped, I'm doing a garter stitch short row heel, which I like the feel and look of quite a lot. Although I have to make sure that I make the foot long enough, because the short row heel is just shallower than a heel gusset, or heel flap and gusset, which is why I prefer the heel flap and gusset. So I just have to make sure the foot is long enough that I'm not constantly tugging on the socks. But anyway, that's the first one. I also cast on 68 stitches for these, because my other pair is a teeny bit snug, and that might be from having been through the wash. Like maybe the yak content makes it not entirely super wash. I don't know. Anyway, the second sock, I'm past the heel. So I just have to go round and round on the foot a little while longer before they're done. So yeah, it's like basically sock mania over here. It's not that I even need socks so much right now, but it's what I can handle mentally. And also they fit in these nice little project bags, which I can put into my backpack and take to work. Working from home, I could work on all kinds of knitting projects during Zoom meetings and such, because I just have this big basket on the floor next to my workstation, where my computer's all set up. And, you know, if it was a webinar or something where I didn't have to be participating or taking notes, you know, I could work on like a color work yoke or something a little more complicated, as long as it wasn't totally interfering with my concentration. Where I work now, I bike to work, so everything needs to fit in my backpack. including my lunch and my bike lock and anything else I might need for the day, like an extra jacket or a water bottle or something. So small is good. So it's been socks and hats there. Okay, my third work in progress is this sweater that I was thinking I might have done by now. It's close, but it's not quite there. I will show you the pattern first. I've talked about this a lot because I've been working on it for a while. It is the Fernwood Sweater by Tanya Barley. It's a gorgeous design. I've been planning on this for a while, finally started it this summer. It's actually for the Colors of Fall knit-along, hosted by the Yarny X podcast. I will have links to more information about that in the description box below this video. But basically, they post all the palettes that Pantone comes up with for fall, winter, and spring, summer for both New York and London. And for the knit-along, you can knit, crochet, weave. It's a make-along. But for the make-along, you create something in between the June solstice and the September equinox, and you have to have at least one color from those palettes. And there's almost 60 colors between them all. And then you post a styled photo of it. So that's how you participate. And it's just very fun to see what everybody else is doing, what they're planning. People will put pictures of different yarn colors and ask for advice putting them together, and it's just really fun. So this is my Fernwood. When I got the body all done, I blocked it and let it dry. I was fretting a bit because I thought that the neckline was maybe coming up a little too much, but I thought that it would be a good idea to do the sleeves next and see if the weight of the sleeves and the way this whole thing fit with sleeves would change that somehow. And it seems to kind of settle everything down and pull it down a little bit so that it fits the way a sweater should. So I'm very happy with that. So the first sleeve is done, and the second sleeve is close. I am done with the decreases. I just have a few more rounds of plain stockinette before I do the ribbing. And then I need to do this neckline. So for the neckline, I'm going to pick up stitches and just do some simple ribbing for maybe an inch or a little more. So by the next time I record, this should be done. I am thrilled with this. And we actually had some days last week where it was cool enough I could have worn a sweater to work, at least for the morning, and warmed up more by afternoon. So I'm eager to get it done and wear it. One of the things that I really love about the color work, other than just the pattern itself is gorgeous, is that it extends beyond the yoke. So you keep going with this pattern after you divide for sleeves. So I just think for my style and for the way my shoulders are built and kind of the way I'm proportioned, I like it when there's not too much just right up here, because I think it makes me look a little broader than I want. So when it's a little more distributed, I just feel more comfortable in that. I'm trying not to use the word flattering because I feel like there's all this judgment and stuff tied up in that, but I like how this looks. The yarn I'm using is this Clara Parkes yarn from 8 or 9 years ago. It's been a while since she sold this. It's a blend of a couple of different things, and it's fingering weight basically. Like my gauge for this is 26 stitches over 4 inches. And gauge issues are the reason that it took me so long to knit a sweater out of this yarn, because I tried at least 2 or 3 other patterns that just did not work. Either I didn't like the fabric or I didn't like the fit. But when I found this pattern and saw that it matches the gauge that I like, it was kismet. So here we go. Hopefully next time I record, I will be wearing this for you. All right, I'm gonna pause and grab my last work in progress and some goodies that I got over the weekend to show you. Okay. Darn it, I didn't bring the pattern and I can't remember the name of it. It's fractal something. I've showed this before. It'll be in the show notes. It's by Martina Baim, a German designer. And I started this a while ago, and I've picked it up and put it down a lot, just because it's not portable, because I have a couple of different yarns going on, and I don't know, even though it's not a very complicated pattern, I just haven't been taking it with me places. But it's just a basic shawl, kind of a long, skinny, asymmetrical shawl, which is the kind I like best because I can wear it like a scarf. And it feels divine because of the yarns I am using, which I'll talk to you about in a second. But basically, you use half of it, half of your yarn, doing one kind of thing, and then I think the directions have you like change directions for the second half of the yarn, so that you end up with this like cool sort of geometric thing happening. And I know that because this is all black, it's hard to see, but it's a simple pattern. It's garter stitch with dramatic increases on one side, and every so often you do a row of yarn overs. So it keeps it interesting. It's very intuitive. I am using Indian Lake Artisans needles in size 7, I think. Yeah, 7, 4.5 millimeter. These are, they have different hardwoods that they use, and the harder the wood for the needle tips, the sharper it is. So these might be maple. These might be their sharpest ones, which I really like. I like my needles sharp, personally, even though it can be a little dangerous. But it's just, it feels so nice to knit with these. The yarn is very soft. It all is just like this very satisfying tactile experience. So the yarn I'm using is some stuff I got on sale when the Wisconsin Craft Market, rest in peace, went out of business. That was like a whole thing. They were gonna close, and they had like a series of sales planned, but it was gonna start in the beginning of April 2020, and obviously that couldn't happen. They just had to like shut down entirely and put all their stuff in storage, and then they opened up like a year and a half later in a different location and just like had a big blowout sale. And I, did not exercise very good self-control and bought a lot of yarn on sale. So some of it was 2 skeins of this Lang Mohair Luxe Lamé. Is like a mohair silk blend, and I don't know if you can see, because it's fairly subtle, but there is a little bit of sparkle in there, hence the luxe. So it's a little bit of sparkle, but not so much to be like obnoxious or scratchy, in my opinion. And then I also got a skein of Malabrigo lace in black, which is like a very fine weight single ply. So I'm holding them together. I've got 1 skein of this, 470 yards, 2 skeins of the Mohair Luxe. Each of them is 175 meters, which I'm guessing is like 200 yards. So the handy thing about that is if the pattern says you do this for half of it and then do something else for the other half, I'm just going to keep going with this chunk, like this part of it, until I've used up my first skein of mohair. And then I'll move on to the next part of the instructions. So it's very soothing. This is very good TV knitting. I got started on this watching The Residents, which is very good. Kind of hard to follow, but very enjoyable. And yeah, I've been watching other stuff and working on it since. So that's my last work in progress. I did this past weekend spend a good part of Saturday at the Wisconsin Sheep and Wool Festival. I took like 1 picture of a newborn lamb, and that was about it. So I'm not gonna like go on and on about what I did there, but I will show you some of the stuff that I brought home. I was able to meet up with a good friend of mine from my previous job. I'm a little homesick for the people that I knew in that work. I'll be honest with you. I like everybody at my new job, but I don't know them very well yet. And I'm still kind of getting used to things and still don't quite have like a good cadence and, you know, people to hang out with yet. So anyway, so that was nice. And I also got to meet up with some other people from the Yarny X group on Ravelry who were there. Some came from pretty far away. Some are fairly local to this area, but, or, you know, are in Wisconsin. So that was really nice to see everybody. So if some of you all are watching, hi, I'm so glad I saw you. And I hope you had a wonderful time. So I did not come out of that festival empty-handed. I went thinking I should have a plan for things to look at, but I didn't really have a plan. And I didn't want to like lose my mind and come home with too much. And I bought a bunch of stuff last year that I showed you, and some of it, a lot of it I haven't knit yet. So I really didn't have any business buying anything for me, but I did. I did buy some yarn for a gift that I'm not going to show because I don't want to spoil it. And I did buy 2 skeins on behalf of somebody, another friend who had to miss the festival because she was visiting her new grandchild and got COVID on the flight home. So I said I would do some shopping for her, and I've already sent the yarn her way. But I will show you the other things I got. So even though I had told myself I would just do like one pass through the vendor barns before buying anything, I immediately bought something just because I knew I wanted it. It's from Sandy's Palette. She's based out of Mineral Point, Wisconsin, which is not far from here. It's in the Driftless region, southwest of here. And it is all Jacob yarn, obviously 2 different colors applied together, but apparently there's some nylon in here. And it's not treated, but Jacob yarn or Jacob wool supposedly will not felt. So this is sock yarn. And it says you can machine wash it cold. And it feels really nice. I've knit with Jacob yarn before for a different project. When I get around to doing that Elizabeth Zimmerman episode, I will tell you about the Jacob yarn. But I know it is very durable. So I knew I had to try it. No regrets. I was happy to get it. And also, it's not dyed. Like, when you get local wool that is also hand dyed, that makes the price go up considerably because of the labor that goes into that, and the creativity and all those things. When it's not dyed, there's not as much labor that you have to take into account for the price. So undyed yarn is where it's at when it comes to festivals, if you ask me. Speaking of undyed yarn, I have like very little resistance when it comes to Round Barn Mill, which I've mentioned before. Round Barn Fiber Mill. They are based out of Illinois. I have some stuff by them that I've knitted up. I have some stuff by them that I have not yet knitted up, but this is also Jacob. It's fingering weight, 2-ply. There's 300 yards in this skein, and it's a natural gray color. A good color for me. Not like the best, but it's so nice. And I think it's got so much character. And if you're a knitter, you know what I mean when I say yarn has character. I just think this has so much character. And so I got enough of it. I got several skeins because I want to make a cardigan of some sort. I kind of feel like if I put this next to skin, like this doesn't feel scratchy, but I think it might be a little scratchy. Like Jacob is not the softest yarn, softest wool out there. So I'm thinking cardigan, something with a interesting texture pattern, stitch pattern. So we'll see what I come up with. But this was like $9 a skein for the 2 ounces. And the yardage is really good. So I just kind of couldn't resist it. The last thing I got, and this, I knew I was going to fall down hard, and I just accepted it. Utopia Yarns and Fiber Mill. They are my kryptonite. I love so much of what they have. The yarn that I bought for a gift and the yarn that I bought for this other person also came from there. So I did some real damage at that booth, although at least half of it was for other people. But they have a new yarn called Folk, F-O-L-K. It is 100% Wisconsin wool, but I think they have it milled somewhere else and then they hand dye it, which is interesting to me because Utopia has a fiber mill. So I'm not sure why they didn't mill this, whatever, I didn't ask. But it's like a DK weight, I think, light DK weight. And I bought 2 skeins of each of these colors because they're so pretty. And I want to do a striped pullover. I have patterns already. I'll just pick one that I have handy. Probably the Kinson from Moon and Turtle by the Bergen sisters, because I've already made one of those and I know it fits and everything, assuming my gauge is right. But the reason I chose striped is because as gorgeous as their colors were, this one is called Pheasant and it's like deep orange and red. You can tell that it's sort of a semi-solid kettle dye situation. This one is called Graphite, so it's a dark, kind of a medium to dark gray. But you can tell from looking at the skeins that they are very definitely hand dyed. Like they are not going to be totally solid as you work on a project. I kind of hate alternating skeins. I will do it if it's necessary. And I have a lot of hand-dyed yarn and I will have to do that when I work with it. But for this, there's enough variation even within this sort of solid colors that I did not really, I just didn't want all that variation to show in like a solid color project. So I decided to get 2 colors that I really like the look of together and I will stripe them. So instead of alternating skeins, I will be like literally alternating colors. And I think it'll look really good. I thought about getting a 3rd skein of the gray to make sure I have enough, but I was spending enough money there. So hopefully there will be enough. Each skein has 280 yards. So 4 skeins total is more than 1,000 yards. So for a DK weight sweater, that might be enough for me. If not, I can order more. It's not the end of the world. So those are my purchases. I don't have business buying more yarn. Honestly, my stash is so big, but these are all local, made within the US yarns. Small businesses are having a real tough time right now because of those tariffs. You can read more about it on the Kelburn Woolen site. There are other businesses that have been very frank and forthright about how these policies are so chaotic and affecting them and worrying them. You know, if these are businesses that I like and I want their products and I want them to stay around, I figure now's the time to get some. So, well, that's all like the knitting and the yarny stuff I have. At the festival, I did look at the sheep a little bit. I watched the sheepdog trials for a little while. I always think that's interesting, especially because one of the friends that I met with like trains dogs for that. And so she told me how a lot of it works and how the competition works and what the issues were at the festival this year. So I had a little bit of insight into that, which was interesting. But let me tell you, I feel better having sat here and talked at my camera for the last 30 minutes or so about knitting and projects. I need to get on with my day and make some dinner and do the things that I do at home. But, you know, in these times, knitting, I think, might be the thing that keeps me sane. So I'm going to keep at this and I will see you next time. Bye.